The number one question I got asked on my recent video, which blew up, about why you should take notes at every single meeting you're having with HR, especially if they tell you it's just informal and it's not necessary. So the reason I didn't say run and go and get your phone and press record is because TikTok's a big place and there are a lot of different laws regarding this. Let's talk about, can you legally covert record? Now, I can't go through every single country, but what I can tell you about is here in the UK, covert recordings are often accepted in employment tribunals. It's not a guarantee that your covert recording will be accepted, but often they are accepted by the tribunal where they feel like that's going to be relevant evidence. And it's not actually the recording that gets put in as evidence. Typically, it's a transcript of the recording that gets submitted alongside any other documents relating to the case. If you do plan to use a covert recording in a tribunal setting, there's a few things to keep in mind. One is, don't be surprised when your employer asks you for a copy of the recording. That's because it is evidence, and as the tribunal process moves along, both parties will have to exchange all of their evidence with each other, even if it doesn't benefit their case. Now, when the employer can demand that recording is another matter. I personally would wait for the tribunal to tell you to hand it over, and again, I would start with just the transcript and see if that's enough. But it's worth keeping in mind that if you do a recording, your employer finds out that you have it, you will have to disclose it even if you don't think it's useful for your case. Also, the tribunal might say no. The reason that they would take in a covert recording is if they think it's going to have a material impact on the case. It's going to be super relevant to the questions they need to look at. So they might decide that it isn't relevant, and that's something that you'll need to consider as well. And finally, the recording doesn't have to be covert. You could put your phone on the table, start up something like otter.ai, or just start up voice memo and say, well, for my own note-taking and so that I can stay focused here, I'd really like it if I could record this. Is that okay with you? Now, an employer might say no, in which case I would record that part, the part that they said no, and I would say, okay, just to confirm, you have not agreed with the recording. I've got that noted down, and then you can either decline the meeting, you can carry on with paper notes. You can always do paper notes. They can't stop you from doing that. And then you can decide what you want to do from there.